The news has been dominated by Ukraine and the impacts of what appears to be shifting US policy with regard to NATO and also European security. And that leaves two big questions from my perspective, looking at it through a military lens. The first one is that what will this Brussels summit, where European leaders are meeting, what impact will that have on European militaries? Well, it's pretty clear that President Trump is trying to force President Zelenskyy into going to the negotiating table. By cutting military aid, by cutting intelligence, he's making life extremely difficult. And the hope there is that President Putin will also meet Zelenskyy at the negotiating table. The problem is, if Putin actually decides he doesn't want to negotiate, Trump's actions will have actually damaged Ukraine, made Ukraine more vulnerable, and therefore Europe more vulnerable. And that is certainly alarming European leaders. The first step to address that is you've got to get political commitment to spend more money on defence. And that's why we're seeing Ursula von der Leyen making some huge commitments in terms of money. The big challenge, of course, though, even if you have lots of money, you can't go to a supermarket and stock yourself with weapons. The defence industrial base of Europe has atrophied over the years, and it will take several years before that is able to meet the demand. European countries will, their first priority be to backfill their stockpiles of weapons that they've emptied in support of Ukraine, and then bolster their own security and reconfigure their forces so that it's ready for the threat. Of course, the second challenge facing the European leaders is Europe's not aligned. Within Europe, Poland, for example, has massively increased defence spending to over 4%, but it's not about to let that military capability go out of the country. It is worried about its own national security. And then you look at Hungary and Viktor Orban, he has a very different agenda, probably more focused on Russia. If we look at the second question, I think is really interesting from a military perspective, is what impact will this US decision have of intelligence sharing, the decision by the US to switch off intelligence? Now, intelligence, it sounds a bit amorphous, but it's a chance to get inside your enemy's head to actually work out intercept their communications and better understand their strategy. The US uniquely has a huge range of capabilities to be the eyes and the ears over the battlefield, whether it's space-based, land or air-based assets, to provide timely, actionable intelligence. Now, Ukrainian uses smart weapons. They have smaller warheads. They're very, very fast and effective, but they have to hit their target. And that needs very accurate data, and that's what intelligence provides. Now, although the Americans have actually cut off military aid, it could be months before that impact is felt. Intelligence stopping has an impact almost immediately, and it's not something that European leaders can fulfill. That's eroded European confidence in America as a credible partner, and therefore that has impact on European security and, of course, on NATO. And if we've any doubt at all what impact this will have for Ukraine, here is a scene from Kryvyi Rih. We've got this footage overnight, another example of a Russian attack, this time on a civilian hotel, no evidence of military targets around. And, of course, the US traditionally provide Patriot missile systems that protect these cities. If they haven't got those high-end missiles, it's the civilian population that is going to suffer.
Sean Bell, thank you so much. Let's actually